Hey there folks, I'm back with part 6 and I want to talk a little bit about how I set up WordPress when I first bring a mini site online. I've called this section Fuss Over Your Appearance, and I think some of it is fussing over appearance, but it's mostly aimed at creating a good solid platform to build on, and I think throwing off the scent to Google is sort of my added bonus. I should first say, as I did at the end of part 5, that you can apply this outside of the WordPress platform. You're going to have to do some crosswalking to come up with alternatives for a couple of the WordPress plugins that I'm going to reference here. But truthfully, most of the other steps are pretty universal. Now, the first of those universal steps is that I go out on Fiverr.com and I buy verified Gmail accounts. Typically, I think I get 40 at a time. Some of them are caught by Google's spam alert and they're shut down before I get to use them. But generally, out of an order of 40 accounts, I've got 25 or 30 that wind up being completely usable for my mini sites. What I do is I developed a Gmail address into a full persona by creating a Google Plus account that's associated with the name of the person that was set up when the Gmail accounts were created. I grab profile pictures from random places on the internet. I build a story on the Google Plus page. I make up where I went to college. I create some professional background that's consistent with the subject matter that I'll be putting on the mini site before it's over with. So in other words, if there's a manual review of how all these things fit together, I'm gonna have the best shot at looking like a real person. These things take a little bit of time up front, obviously, but you have to remember that once they're done, they're done. You don't have to do any ongoing support of this infrastructure. It just makes sure that it sticks around in case somebody comes looking to see what you're up to. After I've got my Google Plus profile good and in place, I built a few other social accounts. I don't know if any of you have sort of an automated social account creator, but I may be able to put links to a couple of those below this video before it's over with. There are some really inexpensive ones, like 10 or 15 bucks, and they can create a basic suite of social accounts that you can use. I installed Jetpack, which is a really comprehensive plugin that's also made by the same people that make WordPress. It's free, and it comes with a social sharing component that includes opportunities to share to your Google Plus account, Tumblr, LinkedIn, Twitter. There may be one or two other ones that don't come to the top of my mind right now, but anyway, I'd say take advantage of that. It's great. Whenever you do a blog post, it automatically gets pushed to those social accounts. What I like about it specifically is that it begins to build up sort of the at least appearance of reality with my Google Plus account, and works on some authority for my LinkedIn account and even Twitter. There are some other things that you can use those accounts for. I'm sure I don't need to tell you all the possibilities, but we may talk about it in some other videos. But once you have a few social accounts that surround your mini site, you're well on your way to creating sort of a standalone thing that helps you pass a Google manual review. Now, I take that Gmail persona and I use the name and email address to go back into my whois, my at the domain register, and change the the who is information for that particular mini site, and I encourage you to do the same thing. Just leave your physical mailing address as it was originally set up. So the first thing I do with plugins outside of Jetpack is I put the Link Juice Keeper plugin on there. This plugin, for those of you who don't know, allows you to preserve the integrity of any links that are inbound to your PBN mini site domain. It will send people to the home page if they click on something that was in the past an internal link. This keeps people from well, let's just say it preserves the links that you paid for in the first place as best as possible. I go into settings, I change permalinks to post name. This automatically creates appropriate names for my posts and pages, so that when they get pushed to other places, they are easily identified. I turn off discussion because I don't personally desire comments or discussion with my posts and pages. I push off robots by dissuading them from visiting. I like to do that while I'm getting myself set up. Once I've got my initial silos and first few blog posts on the site, I allow robots to come back because I'm ready to begin the process of monetizing and actually building up the metrics for the mini site. I set my page one blog post count in settings. Typically, I do a minimum of 20 or 25 because even when I'm doing really concentrated selling of links to other people who want, maximum link juice, I always put at least one post for every post with a link. I put one post that doesn't have a link, so that I basically mimic a natural blog footprint or profile. I drop Hello Dolly. It always mystified me that WordPress's creator, Matt Morningwake, put this plugin in and it stayed so long, but apparently it's a nod, as is the naming of various WordPress iterations. It's a nod to his love for jazz and I guess theater. Just strange. I activate a Kismet so that I can fight spam. I know people who have, 10, 15, 20 different Akismet accounts because they believe it helps minimize their footprint. I probably have 3 or 4, so I guess I'm not what you would call rabid about that type of thing. And I delete the Hello World post and the sample page. This basically gives me a blank slate to work with. I will say one thing that I haven't touched on. Don't use the same theme, obviously, on all of your mini sites. We'll talk a little bit more as I move on to adding content and adding monetization about the ways that I make my sites look different. But this is a good place to begin to think about some of the free themes, and the free themes are perfectly fine. Some of the free themes that are available through the WordPress platform itself, they work great. And if you ever decide you need something more sophisticated, it's easy enough to switch over. But don't use 2014, for example, on all of your sites. Certainly don't use 2013, because my goodness, that might have been the ugliest artwork I think I've ever seen on a website. So anyway, that's part 6. I'll be back with part 7 very shortly.